The world is hungry for batteries as the demand for clean energy and electric vehicles continues to skyrocket across the globe. And right now, China is serving up the biggest slice, shipping out more batteries than any other nation. Chinese companies now dominate the global energy storage market, especially in the US, where their products are found in everything from homes to massive utility projects. They're selling lithium-ion batteries at prices far lower than competitors, making them hard to resist for buyers looking to cut costs. This aggressive pricing has fueled a boom in US energy projects, allowing solar and wind farms to expand faster than ever before. As a result, Chinese batteries have become the go-to choice for storing renewable energy, powering everything from small businesses to entire cities. Why so cheap? Partly, it's the type of product. China specializes in large utility-scale battery systems that are more cost-effective to produce in bulk. China exports these massive grid-scale battery systems to the US and other countries, shipping them out by the thousands. The sheer scale of these exports naturally lowers the cost per kilogram, making them even more attractive to buyers. But many experts see a calculated strategy at play here, one that goes beyond just economies of scale. By flooding the market with cheap batteries, China squeezes out US, Korean and Japanese competitors, making it harder for them to survive. The result? China cements its lead as the world's battery supplier, setting the pace for the entire industry. Meanwhile, the US becomes increasingly dependent on foreign technology for its clean energy transition, raising concerns among policymakers. The US is installing record amounts of battery storage, breaking new ground in renewable energy capacity every year. But most of it comes from China, exposing a major gap in American manufacturing and innovation in this sector. While the US has focused on building batteries for electric vehicles, it still lags behind in producing the larger, more complex systems needed for the power grid. These grid-scale batteries are essential for stabilizing renewable energy, and right now China is the only country making them at scale. This growing dependency raises urgent questions about energy security, national competitiveness, and the risks of relying on a single foreign supplier. As America's power infrastructure evolves, the stability and independence of its energy future may depend on how quickly it can close this battery gap. Washington is alarmed by the dominance of Chinese battery suppliers in the US market. This isn't just business, it's a national security risk. Batteries power everything from laptops to military hardware and the grid itself. Relying on a single foreign supplier, especially a strategic rival, creates a dangerous vulnerability. If China disrupts the supply, the US economy and defense could be at risk. Policymakers agree America must urgently build its own battery manufacturing capacity to avoid trading one form of energy dependence for another. Without a domestic source for grid-scale batteries, the US clean energy transition remains at the mercy of foreign supply chains. To address these vulnerabilities, the United States is taking decisive steps to reshape its battery supply chain and reduce its reliance on foreign sources, especially China. The US government is rolling out a series of new policies and initiatives aimed at strengthening domestic battery production and protecting American jobs. New tariffs on Chinese batteries are coming, but the highest rates won't hit until 2026, giving Chinese exporters a window to flood the market with cheaper products before the full impact is felt. However, experts warn that tariffs alone aren't enough to level the playing field or ensure long-term competitiveness for American manufacturers. They call for stronger measures, such as even higher tariffs, direct government investment, and more robust support for US manufacturers to help them scale up quickly. Grants, tax credits, and other incentives could help build new battery factories at home, making American-made batteries more competitive and encouraging innovation in the sector. There's a trade-off. Higher prices for batteries and electric vehicles could slow clean energy projects and make it harder for consumers to afford new technology in the short term. But the long-term goal is clear: achieving energy independence and securing America's clean energy future for generations to come. Outcompeting China in battery technology is seen as vital for America's economic leadership, national security, and technological innovation. Better data on domestic production is also needed so policymakers can track progress, identify gaps, and adjust strategies as the industry evolves. The US isn't just building factories, it's building a smarter, more resilient industrial strategy that can adapt to global challenges and seize new opportunities. The stakes are high. Secure battery supply chains are essential, not only for national security, but also for powering critical infrastructure and supporting the transition to clean energy. The next few years will be crucial, determining whether America can close the gap, lead in battery innovation, and secure its place in the global clean energy race. Despite trade tensions, US-Canada clean tech collaboration is booming. Canadian companies are expanding into the US, bringing investment, jobs, and innovation. This partnership is key to building a stronger North American clean energy market. As US demand for renewables soars, Canadian firms are helping meet the need for advanced batteries, solar panels, and more. They're not just exporting, they're building factories and supply chains in the US, supporting climate goals and economic ties. These investments show that despite political friction, business and environmental cooperation remain strong. Together, the US and Canada are creating a more secure, diverse clean tech supply chain for North America. Electrovaya, a Canadian battery maker, is expanding its New York factory with a $50 million US government loan, creating jobs and cleaning up transport. Canadian Solar is supplying advanced battery storage for major US energy projects, helping stabilize the grid as renewables grow. Canadian Premium Sand is transforming an old US glass factory into North America's largest solar glass plant, reducing reliance on Asian imports. These moves strengthen the domestic supply chain and breathe new life into American industry. More than business, these partnerships reflect a trend: economic integration for a sustainable future. Companies on both sides see the benefits of working together, even when governments clash. The urgent need for clean energy is driving cooperation that outlasts political disputes. US-Canada collaboration is building a greener, more resilient economy. Shared goals for decarbonization are forging lasting partnerships. Cooperation has its limits. US tariffs during the Trump era shocked Canada's economy. A 25% tariff on autos caused Canadian vehicle exports to the US to plunge 23% in a single month, fueling a record trade deficit. Tariffs on steel and aluminum doubled, hitting Canadian producers hard. Canada's exports to the US fell nearly 16% after the tariffs, exposing the risks of heavy reliance on one trading partner. The auto industry, a Canadian cornerstone, was especially hard hit. The crisis forced Canada to confront its vulnerability and rethink its trade strategy. Communities across Canada felt the pain as jobs and businesses suffered. The shock was a wake-up call. Political decisions in Washington can disrupt Canadian livelihoods overnight. This crisis set the stage for a fundamental reimagining of Canada's economic future. The US trade war was a crisis that exposed Canada's over-reliance on its southern neighbor. Suddenly, stability turned to risk as access to the US market was restricted. In response, Canadian leaders launched a new strategy: trade diversification. The goal: reduce dependence on the US by building ties with Europe and Asia. New free trade deals and government support helped Canadian businesses find global customers, making the economy more resilient. The lesson was clear: don't put all your eggs in one basket. Canada isn't abandoning the US, but is building new partnerships for a more stable future. This shift would soon lead to a groundbreaking transatlantic deal. Canada's push for trade diversification paid off in a big way. For years, the country had been seeking to reduce its reliance on a single trading partner, looking for new opportunities and alliances around the world. This forward-thinking approach set the stage for a major breakthrough. By strengthening ties with Europe, Canada attracted a $20 billion investment from a major European automaker to build a massive EV battery plant. This wasn't just any deal, it was a game-changer for the Canadian economy and a signal to the world that Canada was ready to lead in the green revolution. This deal is one of the largest in Canadian history, creating thousands of high-quality jobs and making Canada a key player in the global EV supply chain. The new factory will not only boost local economies but also foster innovation and skills development across the country. While the US focused on tariffs and trade barriers, Canada positioned itself as a stable, resource-rich partner for clean energy. The country's abundance of critical minerals, combined with its commitment to renewable power, made it an ideal location for sustainable manufacturing. The European company chose Canada for its clean power, critical minerals, and political stability. These factors gave Canada a unique edge, ensuring a reliable and ethical supply chain for the future of electric vehicles. Ironically, US trade actions made Canada more attractive to global investors. As companies looked for alternatives to uncertainty, Canada's open and predictable trade environment stood out, drawing in new partners and capital. The result: Canada secured a historic investment, while the US watched from the sidelines. This shift highlighted the importance of adaptability and the risks of protectionism in a rapidly changing world. This is a powerful lesson in how trade policy can reshape global industries. Strategic decisions made today can have ripple effects for decades, influencing where jobs, innovation, and prosperity will flourish. Canada's new strategy turned crisis into opportunity, cementing its role in the clean energy economy. The country is now seen as a leader in sustainable technology, attracting talent and investment from around the globe. Sometimes, a shock is what it takes to spark real change. For Canada, this trade shock became the catalyst for a new era of growth, innovation, and global influence in the electric vehicle industry.